got one of my first Q&A questions, right? And one of the very first questions that a person asked for help. So it was Ace Izzy, and he asked, "What do you think is the best way to save money? I'm trying to fix my money management right now, bruh." So I'm gonna say this: I don't really know what you really spend all your money on or whatever, but I'm assuming that you're kind of like me, and how us brothers is, whether you Mexican, white, black, Asian, a lot of the time we spend our money on mostly two things. We spend our money on either video games or a whole bunch of snacks. All right, so I'm assuming you like a lot of anime just like I do, so I'm assuming you probably, buy a lot of video games. So I would say number one, don't buy a lot of video games. Number two, the amount of snacks you have, lower that. And then I know you go to work, so I'm assuming most people make like what, like $500 a week or so, or $600. Just I'm just saying as an average. I don't know if that's 100% true. Um, the money that you have, what you should do is every week, and I'm gonna tell you what I did is when I was working at this one factory job, I was using Lyft to go to my job and to go home, and I was making bands because they had a lot of those. What are they called? They had a lot of those reward kind of things. So it was like, well, it was peak season. We had peak season, and when it was peak season, you got paid like triple. And if you came on the weekends, you got paid like overtime. And what I was doing is I was coming in my normal hours, and because I worked 6 days a week, and I was making double of what I was normally making because it was peak season, and peak season is basically the holiday times. So it was like I'm gonna say Thanksgiving, like, well, no. It's like Halloween to around February. So what I was doing, is I was using Lyft, and it was taking a lot of money to use Lyft to go there and back. However, I was making so much money that I had a whole bunch of money left over. So what I was doing every single time is I was taking $100 and putting it to the side and putting it in a where's it at? I have it somewhere in my room, but I was putting it in this little jar, this plastic jar. So what you should do is every single month, if you have money left over, you just constantly keep building the money up. So even if it's like $5, you put it in the jar. Even if it's $10, you put it in the jar. If it's $50, you put it in the jar. Anything that you're not using on bills or gas, put in that damn jar. Even if you got change, you find change laying around the house, put it in that jar. Because that could be your rainy day fund. When you ain't got no money, you lose your job, you get fired, you'll have that jar. That jar might be full of $1,000. The most I had at one time in that jar was probably like $2,000, bro. I had so much money saved up because every single week I was putting that little $100 in there, and I was giving my grandma money for rent. I was giving her like about I think I was giving her like $200 a week. Her mind was like blown. She's like, "You keep giving me $200," because my other family members who lived with her wasn't giving that much money, but I was giving her like bank. I think she thought I was a drug dealer for a minute. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I was the type of nigga who, I like to chill in the bathroom or whatever, and I had hella money, so she assumed probably I was on drugs or whatever. But anyway, that's the best way you can do it, is you put your change in there. If you spend $10 and you get like $1.20 back, put that in a jar. And eventually you're gonna have a whole bunch of money stacked up in that jar. And then you can use that money either on your rainy day fund for emergency money, or you can just use it to splurge and do whatever you want. For a cool minute, I was going to like the movies. I remember I went to see Spider-Man No Way Home with my little bit of money. I went to see it twice and took my sister. So that would be my advice on that. Don't buy too many video games. Do how I do. Actually finish all the video games before you buy a new one. Because one thing I remember back in the day is that I used to buy a whole bunch of video games, but it was like they were fighting games. So you finish it hella fast. You finish the story mode hella fast. Play a couple of little rounds of the arcade, and then I'll be like, okay, I need a new game. Get you some world playing games, some role playing games. Like get you something like Dark Souls, or something like that that'll keep you busy for more than like a couple of days. And just play that for months and months. Don't buy too many video games. And if you do buy video games, buy them used. Go to Goodwill. You can buy a lot of good shit at Goodwill used. I remember I was volunteering at Goodwill when I was like 15, because you know when you in high school you gotta volunteer for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours or something. I volunteered there. They had a they had Game Boys for hella cheap. They have hella books for hella cheap. A whole bunch of self-help books, a whole bunch of novels. You know, they had a whole bunch of toys and knickknacks. I remember one time I went in there. They had like this box full of Pokemon cards. It was only for like $2, but it was like a big giant stack of Pokemon cards. So go to Goodwill to get you your video games, or go to GameStop and try to talk them down. Because I remember I went to the used video game section, bro, and I ended up getting Injustice, and this was like 3 or 4 years after it came out. This was Injustice 1, you know, the port that they put on the PlayStation 4. I remember it was $20 in the store, but the guy in the store ended up giving it to me for $10 because he saw that I wanted it hella bad, and he saw that I was hella cool. So he just like, he just hit me with with some love, bro. He was like, hey, you know what? He's like, I'll charge you for this, because it was like a buy 2 games get 1 half off or something like that. So he gave it to me. He gave me that game and another game for like $10, and then he halved off the price of like a third game or something like that. So when you get your video games, make sure you go to GameStop and get them used. Don't buy a whole bunch of new games for $60, especially if you have a Switch. I'm assuming you're like me, who has a Switch or a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4. Don't spend the full price on video games. That will save you a tremendous amount of money. Don't just buy stuff just because you want to eat snacks. Like, don't buy a whole bunch of hot Cheetos. Don't buy a whole bunch of Doritos. Don't buy a whole bunch of freaking drinks and chips and stuff. So what you do is you go to like Walmart and you stack up on it for a couple of days. That way you ain't constantly going to the store. You know what I'm saying? So one example would be, get you that, I think it's a 20 pack of those small chip bags. Get you those type of chips. Get you like 2 of those things. Put those in your freaking pantry. Buy you a freaking pack of sodas, because the sodas at Walmart are cheap as hell, and get the knockoff ones. The knockoff ones usually taste better anyway. And use your snacks like that. You know, do your snacks like that. Go buy them for cheap. Do it like that. Don't constantly go to the gas station and get snacks. Again, I know this from experience. I used to do this all the time. I still low-key do it sometimes when I'm like really in the mood for a snack. But that's usually where a lot of your money gets taken away, is when you buy like gas station food, like chicken strips and french fries from the gas station. You buying like ice cream from the gas station. You buying freaking chips from the gas station, sodas from the gas station, sunflower seeds. That stuff, you know, eventually adds up. And if you're doing that and you're also going to drive-thrus and getting fast food, that's going to take a lot of your money. So, you know, go buy you some food from like Walmart, stack up, you know, spend like $100 on that. And if you spend $100 on that and then fast, like, you know, sometimes I fast, I'm like a spiritual dude. You fast a little bit, only eat 1 meal a day, you will save up hella money. And honestly, if you can't do it for too long, try to do it for just like 2 weeks. Guarantee you will have like an extra couple of dollars saved over. But that would be my advice for money management. Would be to do that. And any type of money you see around the house, pick them hoes up, put them in that damn jar. I'm telling you, even if it's pennies, you get 100 pennies, you have $1. $1 is a lot of money, you know. And one problem is we underestimate pennies, and we underestimate how important money is, you know. We gotta kind of, as people, we gotta be more like Mr. Krabs, bro. Like, a penny does need to be like, oh, a penny, you know, because they add up. I'm telling you, my freaking jar is full of pennies. I probably got like $4 in pennies in that jar, you know. And I kind of low key learned that from my auntie, because she had like a big jar. Like, she had the water jugs, you know, the water jugs you use for the little water machines. She had a jug, my nigga. She had like 4 jugs full of freaking pennies. I kid you not. But yeah, bro. Hopefully this helps you. If anybody else has any questions that they want answered, then you know, let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow your boy. I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of content, you know, as much as I possibly can. Peace and blessings. Hope you guys have a good one. Take care.